The strange case of Charles Dexter Ward. So he's examining the records of his family, and he finds a book where 2 pages are like glued together. So it goes from 1780 to 1860 or whatever. Maybe more recently. Yeah, it's like 1860 to 1910 is missing. He says, that's kind of weird. So he steams the book. He takes the page and puts it over a kettle, like when you're trying to open a letter to commit mail fraud. And then the pages become unfixed. And he finds out that he has this other great-grandfather, who he didn't know about. His parents lied to him about who his grandfather was. So then he finds like a secret basement, another sub-basement, or like wine cellar. There's these jars of gack, like Nickelodeon gack, if you remember, or like flubber. It exists in a fluid state. If you press your hands into it, they go into it quickly, but if you slap it, it becomes firm. Or like you can roll it into a ball and throw it against the wall, and it bounces. But if you leave it in a still state, it returns to a fluid state. Like gack, essentially. And so he's playing with this goop and like throwing it against the wall and bouncing it and stuff. He's like, this must be Grandpa's invention. My previously unknown grandfather made this goop. And it's unnatural colors as well. It's described as being a color in between purple and pink and green, and more colors as well, which he'd never even heard of or imagined. Like he closes his eyes, I think, and maybe it glows in the dark, or maybe it appears out of this, it has a corona, maybe, like he throws it against the wall, and then it produces a colorful halo effect in the corners of his vision. I think it's like a pink goop. And then he puts it back in the jar. And then later he finds his grandfather or great-grandfather's notebooks. And they say, well, actually, I died. After I died, his grandfather says after he died, they turned his body into this goo, or it's like a powder, I think, that maybe turns into a goo. And there's a set of instructions where you can take the goo and use it to bring him back from the dead. It's like you can make an instant thing and it will resurrect his grandfather, I guess, great-grandfather. And he's like grossed out. He doesn't do it. He's like puking and screaming because he was playing with this stuff and like flipping it from hand to hand. But it turns out it was, I guess, a dead body of sorts, or it's like a chemical, magical substance which contains the supernatural essence of his necromancer grandfather, or like mad scientist grandfather or whatever, great-grandfather. And then he goes and he's telling people, he's like, you won't believe me, but it's true. And then I think maybe he gets cut out of the will or something, because I think his family knew and they were trying to keep it a secret. Or maybe they're evil somehow. I think they're like the richest fishing family in Maine. Vermont. Yeah, it's in Maine. I think the whole thing's set in Maine. Anyway, thank you for watching. This is The Strange Case of Charles Dexter Wart. So we're gonna maybe do a musical version later. Alright, thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button.